Hello everybody, how are you going? Well, welcome to What $1 Million Gets You in Sydney. Yes, that is right, it's $1 million. It sounds like a lot of money, but we all know that it's getting less and less, both in London, Toronto, and especially Sydney. Being one of the hardest hit places in the world, it doesn't stretch you as far. And so if I start out by just going all of Greater Sydney, there's plenty of dots there. A lot of them are going to be apartments, a lot of them are going to be new, but considering the first thing that comes up is not even one bed, but just one bath studio. That's pretty darn crazy if you ask me. What do we have? We're going to be living in Woolloomooloo, so it is very much the city, and it is nice enough. I'd certainly say that this looks nice and okay. Okay, the browns, surely just whack a coat of paint or something, like just do the bare minimum to get rid of the brown. That's the foyer, obviously, but look at that. It is definitely a studio, a very, very small space right there. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, considering it's a contact agent, if it was more than $1 million. I wouldn't be surprised if it went for 1.4, 2.4. There's no way of knowing, considering it's not even having a price. But look, let's just see. If I do go for a house, what can you get? All right, for up to 900, I don't even make sense. Like, why would you offer 930 if you can get it for 870? But what do you get out in Camden for that kind of money? It's added only an hour ago, which is pretty crazy, but it looks like from the outside, if we go back to that, fibro house, perhaps, probably. Blue fibro house with a tile roof, so certainly not the newest thing. And inside, clean enough. Honestly, I expected it to be a little bit different, but it's clean enough on the inside. Maybe a little bit cold, considering no place. I mean, look, it's got holes in the wall on purpose because it's an Australian house to try and keep you cool. But man, does it keep you cool? Cupboards, though, I mean, it's certainly a well-kept older home. Ooh, and they've done a couple of renovations to also just keep it a little bit nicer over the years. But honestly, considering what it is, I would not be surprised if this would have been more expensive than that. To pay $870, I reckon you'd be doing pretty well. I mean, we can have a look at where it is, and I guess I could also just show you. Like, look, it's out there. In the scheme of Sydney, it's down in the bottom corner, Let's just have a little look about how far this really is. Measure distance, 52 kilometers as the crow flies. Let's just go to London and just see how far that is actually out. Let's just see, where would it be? Nope, that's not what I wanted. I want to measure distance. That's only 27 kilometers, and all of a sudden I'm seeing Brighton, and well, I'm not, but I am seeing water. But let's just see, my goodness, that's how far it is. It's not even in Crawley. Look at this. It's all the way nearly at the ocean. It's from London, it's all the way at the ocean, and that's Greater Sydney that people just commute from. I guess let's just go to Toronto now. Why not? Let's just give people the true scale about what we were talking about, because it's not just nothing. Why do you keep doing that? I can't believe there's Mississauga, the richest place in the world, but look at that. There you go. The fact that that's even on the same scale, you can see kind of how far we're talking. The UK is just a joke compared to anything else, but look at that. It's certainly not in the middle of the city, and so no wonder you can get places for a little bit cheaper when you're going that far out, but it's still not cheap. It's just going to be one of the cheapest that we're going to find here. That's the problem. I mean, look, I guess if you do just want to be going off the shelf, you can certainly, for $1 million, practically on the dot, you can get a 4-bed, 2-bath, 1-car house. Inspection tomorrow, so I guess it's a real place. I was wondering if it was kind of a render or not, but no, it does look real. It looks brand new. Absolutely brand new. Probably absolutely brand new. This masterpiece in the heart of Leppington, once again, long way out. No way to deny that. It's not even showing where it is. Let's just show you Leppington for a minute there. I mean, look, I guess it's technically not as far out as Camden, but it's certainly out there compared to some places as well. And especially if you're going to be just stuck on this road out here it's not the Cume Highway, but if you're going out there, one crash, say goodbye to 2 or 3 hours. But either way, you are going to be getting at least for your money for $1 million. A very contemporary, very 2-story. I'm surprised it's only 1 garage, but look, that's a lot of house, I guess, for your money. And of course, from a contemporary point of view, it's been nicely finished. There's not much you could complain about in that regard. I mean, unless the entire thing just decides it wants to crumple around you like so many places seem to do because of our building standards, and you can go down a whole massive rabbit hole with site inspections in New South Wales with that. That's just a minefield of psychological warfare if you want to just go down there. But just seeing that this is at least a place that you can buy that isn't crazy far, you're not moving out to Tamworth. You are still in Greater Sydney. and you're spending $1 million, and there's going to be a bundle of these kind of places around. And so I don't know if that's a deal. I don't know if it's a steal. I don't know if it's a ripoff. Depending on what your context is compared to London, that's a deal. But you're also, compared to London, living on the coast. So that's a bit of a difference there. However, I do just want to be coming back to the map and just trying to see if I can find anything in more the Sydney area. I mean, there's a lot of dots there, but there's going to be a lot of contact agents, and you certainly can't trust them. So let's just say, as west as Homebush, if I go back to list, what can you get? Is there going to be any houses? Okay, let's have a look at this bad boy. Nice blue house in Peakhurst, contact agent. So again, it's going to be a lie. Maybe not with a block like that. I mean, maybe the backwards 7, half a 1, whatever you want to be calling it, half a battle axe block is going to be for some people's taste, but man, that is thin. If that's the scale, that's crazy. There's no way. Like, that's the width of a car, and they're usually pretty generous about the widths of cars. There's certainly no F-150 in there. It's probably a Suzuki Swift at best, if not a Fiat. And then for that to be that, and then the house to be as wide as that. I mean, look, the house goes wall to wall, and this bedroom's 3x3 and 4x6. No, but the 6 is going to be because it's kitchen, dining, lounge, and everything else. And so that is a skinny little place there. The wide angle lens is doing them some favors, but man, you can see that angle back there. I guess it's nice to have off-street parking, but it's a funny block, and it's a contact agent, so you don't even know where it is. And it's not even in the middle of the city. Like, it's all the way down here. I mean, it's not that bad, really. It's not. I'll be honest, it's not bad at all. Not compared to coming all the way down here, but at the same time, for a random place like that, no wonder it's apparently even in the million-ish range. Honestly, for $1 million, I would not be surprised if we can find nothing. It just isn't going to be a thing. Wow, for 86 squares, 1 bed, 1 bath, and it's a house? There's no way it's a house at 86 square meters. It's added yesterday. Is it a shop front, or is it a place on top of a shop front? It's a studio? It's a what? It's kind of funky. Like, to actually own this place, it's kind of cool. Nice skylight. I was just absolutely blitzing through those photos. But I was just trying to see if there was anything that gave me more context. 1927. Okay. Studio office space with a separate kitchen studio office. So is it it's got a bed apparently, but it's only 86 squares, but it's 900. Oh man, this place is interesting in terms of its unique, that it offers so many different, like it's a dual occupancy nearly, kind of. Like it's a kitchen and then up. What do you mean up? Up where? There's a toilet, a bathroom, and a kitchen, but then there's no bed. But then they said there was a bed, but then it's separate to this, so why do you have dual access? That's weird. I guess it is truly a dual occupancy studio office frontage, art space residence, commercial flexibility. Man, okay, it is certainly in the middle of the city for what a lot of people would consider middle of the city. I mean, maybe not if you grew up in any of those locations, but as soon as you come west of the bridge, that is the middle of the city in terms of where people are generally trying to be living. And so for 86 square meters of land, I still find that crazy that they kind of can advertise it like that, because it seems like a weird commercial flexibility even. Like it's a weird thing because it's not really a residential place. But I guess they are selling it like it. And I guess in that regard, I can show you the limited specs, so to say, that we get. You know, compared to, let's say, up in Canada, and you get a boiler, and you get all these different specs, walking distance, bike score, yada, yada. That's it. I mean, we get some kind of calculations, just third-party calculations, but there is nothing else. Whatever you read in the description is what you get. Besides, maybe if they included things like property features, you might get a floor plan if you're lucky. At least for selling, that's generally pretty common, but it's no way, like I've said, on Zillow or in any of these other places where you get just list after list after list, where you get when it was built, floor size, but building size, but land size, you know, all those different things, price per square foot, all those calculations. It's fantastic for people to be able to know, and you don't get any of it. And so that's the difference here, where Australia just, we're all about real estate, like culturally. Though half the economy is just built on real estate, but the actual websites just don't offer that much flexibility because the agents have no reason to. They sell enough houses for enough margin as it is. They don't need to be bothering to put more time and effort into anything. The resources to go out and survey every place, pointless for them. And so I guess to sum it up, if I do just go ahead and put a bit of a minimum on, so at least I don't have contact agents and stuff, and so I go 750, but let's say you're looking for a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1-car, and you want a garage, how far out do you need to be going? Let's just see what the map says, because it's a little bit easier to be looking at. Apparently there is a couple of places there, but you can certainly see where the red dots start. That Sydney basin doesn't have any. If you want to be coming up here, there's going to be a few. You know, exactly meeting our criteria of 3 beds, 2 baths, 1 car, but with 600 squares, nice glass frontage. Look at that. Beautiful house in the middle of the, well, it's not in the middle of the bush, but it's green compared to living in the city. You have a nice fireplace. Look how modern, like nicely renovated it is. And if they ever show it, I didn't say, oh wow, there we go. Finally some location shots. That's a pretty nice place to live. So for 865, it's not Sydney. But would you live in there if you could? For all of these people that can now work remote, if you can live up in Newcastle instead of living in Sydney, you can see the attraction. And that's the problem for everyone that was wanting to also make a move. Everyone now just, all the Sydney money just went and just spread out. Everyone that could afford 2 properties especially spread out. And so that's why Sydney is one of the hardest hit places in the world in terms of what people can afford, especially for what they're earning. You know, Sydney-siders do pretty well with their earnings, especially on a worldwide scale. London, I think, is one of the most crazy places in terms of what I've seen for what you get. But I think London's average earnings, like London, is going to be higher than Sydney's average. But then again, if you are going to be going as far as Newcastle was, you know, Camden was out here at 52k. Newcastle's going to be all the way up here at 119 kilometers. So if we go back to London, how far is 119 kilometers, you ask? Well, this far. Well, that's a long way around. I guess I didn't clear it. Here you go. Measure distance all the way down to there. That's 90. You could be in Paris for 120 kilometers. Oh, can you? Oh, almost. From the middle of London all the way to Paris. So for that kind of scale, you'd hope that you can get something for 865,000. And that right there shows you the difference. The scale changes how people live. When you have 6 million people in one little basin compared to being able to spread out all across Europe, man, Europe's densely populated, but there were also some absolute bargains over there compared to a lot of places in Sydney where if you're not living in Sydney, you're living out of Sydney. And that means that you're stuck in traffic for half of your life.